at 5-1. The Wranglers checking in at 4-2. Handed off to Simpson. He turns the corner. He turns on the Jets and into the end zone for the touchdown.
There we go. You got to give him some love. Panther running back Shane Simpson. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Dave?
It's awesome to have you on the program, coming off that massive game against Northern Arizona. And I was talking to you Saturday night. You said, hey, people don't know this, but man, that altitude's rough, 5,000 feet.
Yeah, it sure is. Especially, I played with a visor on too, a darker visor. So just imagine that plus the altitude. Legs are heavy. Couldn't breathe like that. But hey, got to do what you got to do.
Okay, what was that like? The vibe after the loss to Vegas, and obviously that was a huge bounce back win for you.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, you don't like I said to you on Saturday. Like you don't want to lose. You don't want to lose a game ever. But I think we needed that at that point in time, especially like we were down guys, but there's no excuse to do what we just did. But that really had to give us a reality check. So the whole week of practice past week was great. Real aggressive, real attentive, and obviously it showed in the game with our play on offense and defense, and even special teams. You could see the difference. So I think we did a great job of preparation and just trying to continue it throughout the rest of the year.
You had a big game individually in the run and the pass game, but the first thing you told me Saturday night was, hey, this is a team effort. It's not about the individual. It's about my lines, it's about my quarterback. It's about the coaches. It's about the organization.
Mm-hmm. Then I firmly believe that. Like, obviously, like you just said, well aware that I had a really good game Saturday, but that's not possible without the people that I just named. And I'm a firm believer in that. Just because I don't look at it as just like my personal success. It's just as an offense we're succeeding, as an organization we're succeeding, putting points on the board and just doing what we got to do to win a game.
Yeah, Simpson with 2 rushing touchdowns. This was the finisher to put them away to make it a 2-score game in that final minute of the fourth period. 2 rushing scores, 2 receiving touchdowns for Simpson, a candidate for the IFL Offensive Player of the Week. And every place the campaign starts right here, all right?
No doubt.
I got you. Hey, every place we go now, I mean, we see here on the graphic, Suga Shane is your nickname, but you're hearing it at home. You're hearing it on the road. I mean, did you ever get, I don't know how to say it, this much sugar? It's a part of your name now. Every time you touch it, more than just a nickname.
Oh yeah, I love it. Like I said to you before, I usually tend not to hear like announcers or like my name getting called in the game, so since I'm so locked in. But sometimes, like I know I heard it even at the away game this past week, like Suga Shane Simpson, like just using my whole name. So like it's cool to have that nickname attached to my actual name. So I'm glad people love it. They love saying it. So I just got to continue doing my part and just continue to keep balling.
I've heard you tell me the story, but for the audience, give us the background of how you got that nickname.
Yeah, so I've been doing this since high school. I always have to eat Sour Patch Kids. I always have a bag of Sour Patches in either my backpack or somewhere around in my locker. And usually right before the game, I start pacing around the locker room and just eating my Sour Patches, just really just being locked in. And that's that, really.
And that's still what you do.
Oh, yes, sir. To this day.
It's a part of his name. Suga Shane Simpson, starting back for the Bay Area Panthers. Team now 1 game back at Vegas in the Western Conference playoff picture. You've had this great run. In fact, I talked to you the other night, and you said, as part of our printed article, I'm here because I need to be here.
Mm-hmm.
Humbled to reboot, recharge, rebuild that career here. What did you mean by that?
Yeah, so when I said that I didn't know when I needed to be that I needed to be here in the Bay, obviously the goal is to get back to the NFL, CFL, whatever the case may be, to just keep leveling up. You never want to stay at the same level. Obviously I've been there before, so I know exactly what it takes. But obviously after the year I had in Quad City, coming there for only half a year, After I came out the XFL, I was like, I think I'm gonna get back in the UFL or CFL right after that season. But obviously that wasn't in my cards. And obviously you can always turn like, why is this happening to me? Like, why isn't it happening right now? Like when you want it. But I'm a big believer in faith. So whatever God has for me is gonna be for me. So I just gotta continue to put in the work. Obviously in the Bay, there's a lot of connections over here. So then ultimately, my play is going to do the speaking for itself. And then obviously, I have people to vouch for me as well. So that's what I meant by I think I knew why I need to be here.
For a running back, is the indoor game more difficult because you have fewer blockers, or does it balance itself out because you have less space and fewer guys out there?
It's definitely more difficult. It definitely changes how you run, especially like with some ball carriers. Like for myself, I consider myself an all around back. So, but I'm very shifty. So that's my game. I like to wiggle around a lot, but I also do put my shoulder down if I have to. So you can try me if you want to, but I definitely try to keep the big hits off me. But in the indoor game, you gotta adapt, and especially with the high motions, different running angles, you have to get used to. That was probably like the biggest thing when I first came in here, like the running angles, just like learning the angles and as a whole in the game. But now that this is my second year in the league, I definitely have a good grasp of where to hit the hole and how to play defenses.
Before you got to the pros, you were a star player. First of all, at Towson, you had over 5,000 all-purpose yards the 1 year, over 2,000 first-team FCS All-American, and you were even toying with the idea of maybe going to the draft there, and maybe that unraveled when you tore up your knee in that third game against Maine your senior year. What did that do for your psyche in terms of, hey, man, how am I going to recover, bounce back from this to eventually get where I want to be?
Yeah, so overcoming adversity has always been something I've done with my whole life, whether that be with injuries, with death, whatever the case, or mental health, whatever the case may be. But in that instance, when I was coming off a huge season, I think I was number I was number one in the FCS in all-purpose yards, and then number two overall behind Jonathan Taylor, who plays for the Colts right now. So I was thinking about going in the draft that year after my 2018 season, but I ultimately came back to school to get the championship and then up my draft stock. And then um, when I going into the season, I had to pretty much everything: All American, Offensive Player of the Year award, Walter Payton Award, which is the Heisman, um, Reese Senior Bowl. Like all I had to do was finish out the year, and then they actually mocked me at a round 3 or round 4 pick. So all I really had to do was continue what I was doing and pretty much set up myself. But obviously, God had other plans for me. I tore my knee up against Maine in the third game of the season, and I remember it vividly. I didn't cry when it initially happened, even though it felt like two gunshots in my knee. Um, then I got carried off the field, got in the tent. Then they told me the news that I tore my ACL, my MCL, so I'll be out for the season. So that's when I started crying. Then my dad came in the tent, and I remember these words vividly. That I said I just stopped. I stopped crying out of nowhere. I said I'm gonna be back, and he kind of looked at me like I was crazy because after a traumatic knee injury, but he knew from right then and there that I was gonna be fine. Just the way that I was composed and was ready to get back to work right away. So adversity is pretty much my identity. So that's why I strive off that.
What made you decide to transfer after Towson and take that shot at UVA?
Yeah. So I was always a kid that wasn't trying to look for the easy way out or try and transfer just because of hard times and stuff. Because there was times at Towson where I wanted to transfer, but I'm just like, if I do this one time, I'm getting a cycle of like when stuff gets hard, I guess I just got to go somewhere else. I didn't want to be that wasn't part of my identity. So, but I'm going through my process with my knee, and ACL MCL usually takes a year and a half to recover. I was able to recover in 8.5 months. And then while I'm doing summer training, I'm trying to be optimistic because it's COVID in 2020 at that, that we'll still have the season. But ultimately it died down, saying like the FCS ball will not be playing this year, only FCS ball. So I'm just like, dang, I really want to play this year so I can show the scouts, show the teams that I'm still Shane from before, but better. And so I took that leap of faith, hopped in the portal, and was going to see where it went. And I was a little scared just due to the fact I'm coming off a major knee surgery. Like, who's going to touch this guy? But then I kind of downplaying myself because I knew exactly what I brought to the table and what I've done in my career to have over 5,000 yards, and then all the awards that I had too. So I hopped in on a Tuesday afternoon at 12 o'clock. Then by 2:30ish, that's where I was active in the portal. So by 2:31, I had my first offer from Western Kentucky, and then it all rolled downhill from there. It was like I had Texas, Virginia, Penn State, Pittsburgh, Florida State, Duke, Northwestern. I can keep going. I could keep going. I had over 15 plus offers, so I was really thankful. I was damn near crying just because like all the stuff that I've been through, and then always been a dream to play Power Five ball because I had the grades to do it now. So and I graduated as well, so I was going to get my master's as well. So then ultimately I decided to pick between Virginia and Texas, and then I think I told the story before, but I didn't know exactly which one I wanted to play for. I knew it was going to be a great opportunity at both. So I put Texas on a piece of paper 3 times, and I put Virginia on a piece of paper 3 times. And whichever one I picked, 2 out of 3 times, that's who I was going to pick, or actually 3 times. And I actually picked University of Virginia 3 times in a row. So I was like, that's God telling me that's where I got to go.
Pretty scientific. Just above rock, paper, scissors is maybe a way of picking your school.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, what did the experience of Virginia show you in terms of facing high level competition week in and week out, playing in the ACC, and say, hey, you know what, I can go from here and take it to the next level?
Yeah, so like for people that don't know, that at FCS ball, you usually play a Power 5 or a FBS team each year, like once or twice. So I played against East Carolina. I played against the University of Florida's, University of Maryland, and I forgot who else we played, but South Florida. And so I'm adjusted to it, and it's not pretty much a big difference. I'll probably say the biggest difference between the two is obviously the scholarship they offer, and then the guys that put their hands in the dirt, offensive, defensive linemen. Those are the biggest difference between the two conferences. And then obviously me playing in the ACC, I'm going against Florida State, I'm going against Clemson, I'm going against UNC, Virginia Tech, all these powerhouses that I grew up watching, and then I get to play against them. Then I'm going against I'm at practice going against prototypical NFL size players. So outside linebackers. My coach at the time didn't recruit anybody that was under 6'3". So everybody was 6'4", 6'5", 6'6" at outside linebacker. So that just tells you what type of team that we had. So then once I got there, it's just like, it's just football. At the end of the day, people try and make it bigger than what it is, but it's football. So they got to strap their pants on, they got to strap their helmet up, their shoulder pads, and up the same way that I got to do it. So I'm here to play and really show what I can do.
In 2020, COVID obviously messed up a lot of folks' dreams of getting to the next level, and the pandemic also impacted you. Talk about that.
Yeah, so obviously I played at Virginia in 2020. It was definitely hard, especially in Virginia. We only could play in front of like 1,000 fans, and then whenever we went to away games, like we went to Clemson, for example, you would have never thought COVID existed because we were played in front of, I think, 40,000, 50,000 that game. So it was different in the South compared to up north. But finished out the season well. I finished out top 10 in Virginia history as like for kick returners on averages. I averaged 31.5 that year. So I'm thankful for that. And then I'm also in the record book for longest third longest reception touchdown from a running back, which was 70 yards against UNC when we upset them in Charlottesville. But as I go through the season, then I go not declare for the draft. Obviously, still COVID, so it's a little weird with the situations. But I decided to go to test performance in New Jersey, and did my thing there. Then had my pro day, shined in my pro day, and ultimately went through the draft. And didn't hear my name called, which I kind of expected just due to the injury history. But I knew I would. In my gut, I knew I was going to get picked up by somebody, just because I talked to 28 out of 32 teams in the NFL. More than people in my agency at the time. And so I'm like, I gotta get signed. Didn't hear anything for a week, and then I got the call from Washington. I signed with Washington Commanders. Very thankful, ready to go. I'm like, finally, I got the call when I was actually on the field too. So I'm like, thank God, like everything's working out. Ready to go, get ready for camp and stuff. And then God said, hold on a minute, real quick. I got sick again. I got COVID. So I was sick for like a month and a half. So I'm just like, damn, why does it have to happen now? And then get my shots after that. So, that takes another 2 to 6 weeks just having to recover from both the shots. And then obviously time doesn't wait for anybody, especially in that business with the NFL. There's always a next up. And so I worked out for some teams out in California in October or September, October. I worked out for the Broncos, Seahawks, Patriots, Chargers, and the CFL team. They all loved what I did, just couldn't bring me in just due to the fact of having it being COVID and all the restrictions they had. So lost that year. It is what it is. And then you'll probably hit on 22, 23 afterwards.
It's been a long ride to get you here. And I remember you telling me one time about your first tattoo, walk by faith, not by sight. When did you get that? And how much has spirituality been a part of your journey here to get to this point?
When did I get? I think I got it my 17th birthday, so it was right before senior year of high school. Definitely a meaningful scripture to me, even to this day, just because that's my life. Just got to walk by faith, not by sight. Because if I was going to just walk by my sight, I'll be one angry person throughout this whole journey. And there's no need for anger, even if something doesn't go your way or when you want it to happen. So I just lean on my faith to get me to where I'm at right now, and then also lean on my faith where I know I'm going to be heading.
Faith has been a huge part of the adversity that you have to deal with. You lost friends with mental illness and violence, and in fact, you even honor one to this very day. Tell everybody about what you do for Lewis.
Yeah, so one of my best friends growing up, Louis Ogioba, God rest his soul. It was 2011. I remember it like it was yesterday. He would always, we always played basketball with each other in the summer. So we're in the summer league. He's continuously passing out each game. So it's strange because we see him drink water all the time, but he just continues to pass out. And then the one time, early August, I think it was August 2nd, we had a game and he passed out and then got rushed to the hospital. And they released him because they didn't really see anything was wrong. Then once he got back to the house, he sat on the couch and went into cardiac arrest. So then he ultimately died. So I got the call that morning, August 3rd, and still 13, 14 years later, that still kind of haunts me in a sense. But I know he's in a better place. It's just the fact that he's missed so much in this time with all of us. But that'd be selfish on our behalf just to say to bring him, he should still be here. He's up with God, so I know he's in good hands. But to this day, I have in loving memory of Louis Ogioba, obviously his birthday in June, and the day that he died, it's a crop top. I wear it under my jersey each and every game, and I've been doing that since I was 14 years old, and I'm 26, about to be 27 next month. So he means the world to me, and he damn near gives me superpowers at that point, stuff that I do on the field. So I know that he's with me every time that I step on the field. Even when I don't step on the field, he's with me because I have his initials on my chest. So he's with me everywhere I go, sleep, working out, anything really. So I'm just thankful that I had the time that I did have with Lewis, that I'm still doing what I've told him when I was 13, 14 years old, that I'm still doing to this day.
Hey, with a shirt that you've had that long, two things. One, wouldn't you possibly grow out of it? And then two, wouldn't it be frayed and tattered and ready to fall apart after all these years?
Oh yeah, it's definitely very, very, very dingy. But that's why I definitely got tight over the years, especially from when I was 13. But I made it into a crop top, so it's cut right here, and then I cut off the sleeves because they were too small. So it's very breathable now, but you can definitely tell it's been some years.
Yeah. Well, no, I have to tell you, like when I want to feel swole, I'll put on a shirt that I wore when I was 14 because it'll be extra tight.
You want to wear that medium?
Yeah, you know how we do it.
Uh-huh.
Hey, you've been such a major asset to get to that next level because all of our players, I mean, we want to win a championship. We also want to blow up and move on.
Mm-hmm.
What is it that you need to do? What do you need to show to take your game to the next level?
That's why I tell the coach all the time. Like, is there anything you want from me as a player, or as a player, either on the field or off the field, that I can work on to better myself to get to the next level. So I make sure, obviously, as a running back in this day and age, you want to be as versatile as possible. And then the best quote that I've heard since I got into college is, the more you can do, the more you can do. So I made that a big emphasis, obviously, just catching out the backfield, lining up in the slot, lining up outside, catching, doing routes outside. Obviously, being a running back, got to be able to run the ball between the tackles and outside, make guys miss. Then obviously, we're the last line of protection between for the quarterback. So making sure he doesn't get touched. So we got to be very sound in the pass game, pass pro game. So we got to pick up linemen, D linemen, blitzing linebackers, safeties, corners, whatever the case may be. We got to make sure the quarterback's protected. Then also add value on kickoff return, punt return. Then if you really want to put me on kickoff, punt, or whatever the case may be, we can do that as well. But making sure I'm as versatile as possible. Obviously, staying healthy is a big key. And I think that's pretty much it.
Well, since you mentioned returns, that has been a part of what we've been doing with the Panthers. Obviously, the team needs you on offense. Do you want to be your running back kicker? So they say, hey, man, we need to save you and keep you in the backfield and keep you healthy.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much been the plan so far. Like I told him, even when we played Vegas, I'm like, you need to go back there, coach. He's like, no, you're good. I'm just trying to just add the versatility. Obviously, put that on film, which he knows. But obviously, me being on offense is a big component as well. So, but I'm not a selfish player by no means. I just want to be in the right situation where I can help be an asset to the team.
Yeah, you've been a big-time asset. Hey, you're pretty good at this. I think you got a future behind the mic. Once your playing career ends. Hey, I appreciate your time.
No, I appreciate it. Shoot, I have a lot of practice since I was 13 years old. So media training, I was doing that in high school, made my little mess ups in high school a little bit, but that's where you learn. You learn from your mistakes.
Suga, I appreciate your time.
No, I appreciate you.
Panthers running back, Shane Simpson.
Yep, right here.
There it is.